So what the reduce function does is it iterates through an array and condenses it down to one value. This is super useful if you're trying to do something like get the sum of an array, get the product of every element in the array, or find the greatest or the least element in an array. So let's start out and let's use the sum example to show you how to do this. So we're going to do console.log so it shows up in the console. We're going to do r.reduce. And it takes a function as the argument. There are two arguments in the function. The first is the accumulator, and the second is the element. Now what happens here is it automatically iterates through the array, and every single time it iterates to a new element, it gets passed in as this argument, much like .map. Except there's one difference. Everything you put over here is going to be auto-returned and set to the accumulator as you iterate through the elements. So when you say accumulator plus element, you're effectively saying the same thing as saying accumulator plus equals element. And let's find out how this works. So let's say node main.js 15. Awesome. Product, same thing. Except we're going to do r.reduce, same thing, accumulator, element, and we need to pass this in as this. Great. Now we're going to do accumulator times element. So it's basically doing the same thing as times equal. In this case, because we don't set the accumulator as an initial value, it automatically sets itself to the first element in the array as we go through it. So in this case, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to say r.reduce accumulator element, and we're going to say, okay, if the element is greater than the accumulator, set it equal to the element, otherwise set it equal to the accumulator. And it's equal to 5. So great, let's work through this. The accumulator is the accumulator, which is the value that we're going to update as we iterate through the elements. The element is each one of the elements in the array, again, going to be updated as we iterate through. And then it auto sets it to one value as we move through. And it's going to update it to whatever we put on the right side of this arrow. So we have the array here, 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. And here's what happens. We go through the first line of code. It sets it equal to 1. So the value is 1. Then it goes through, it adds 2 to that. Now the value is 3. It goes through, it adds 3 to that. It's 6. Then it's 11. Then it's 15. Great. Product is more or less the same thing, so we'll skip over that. In the case of greatest, again, I changed the name of the value or the name of the accumulator to current greatest because that's basically what it is. So it goes through and says, okay, the current greatest is 1. Is the element 2 greater than the current greatest? Yes, so now it's equal to 2. Okay, so you go 1, then it's 2, then it's 3, then it's 5, because is the element greater than current greatest? Yes. So it sets it equal to the element. Is 4 greater than the current greatest? No. So the current greatest stays at 5.